Welcome to lecture 20 of the course on circuit theory. So till now up to lecture 19 we have seen the analysis of our circuits using time domain approach, that is we have used the differential approach and we have tried to find out the particular voltage or current for particular excitation, right? Now in this class we will see how again the same circuit can be analyzed in frequency domain. It is because what happens generally, if I will analyze the circuit in time domain, it may happen that some of the information I may not be able to reveal it, right? So in order to extract again some more information from the circuit, it will be better for me to go it into the transformation domain. So this is the reason that I have to apply the Laplace transform, or I have to use the Laplace transform tool, so that again I can analyze my circuit in frequency domain, by which you can again get some more extra information. Okay, so in this lecture we will see, or we will revisit on Laplace transform. Basically, let us first see why the transform, or what is the purpose to use the transform here. So suppose just we'll take it two numbers. Let's say one number I have, which is 1.329865789, and another number I have, let's say A2 is equal to 6.285 with very higher floating point number 632186. And if I would like to multiply it, k is equal to say A1 into A, or if I would like to divide it A1 by A2. So how will you do? If I want to do the exact multiplication using up to this much in place numbers, what will happen? I will be definitely get it some round off error or some quantization error, I will get it, right? And again it will be very difficult for me, or rather I will say it will be very complicated for me to find out the product or the quotient. So what is the better way so that I can solve the same approach in an I can solve the same thing in an efficient way? So we know that we know one of the transform called as the logarithm. So what I will do, I will transform these numbers into logarithm form, and then I will use the logarithm property, so that what will happen, your multiplications or divisions will be converted into simple additions and subtractions, and we know that is very easy for us to compute it, right? So what is the transform? Here the transform is the logarithm. So this is the way that if you transform it, if you apply the logarithm, what will happen, your computations will be easy sometimes, fine. So suppose k, so I will use the log. So how will it be the transform? Log will be, again if I'll apply, so it will be log A1 into A2. So this will be, I can use the property that log A1 plus log A2, it is sum of the logs. And then basically what I want k, I don't want log k. So in order to obtain the k, what I will do, I will take it the inverse of log, that is the anti-log on the result which I have been obtained from log A1 plus log A2, right? Okay, now let us draw the flow so that we can understand it. Suppose I have the two numbers like this. I'll take one block here. Say I have two numbers, and these two numbers I have to multiply it. I have to multiply, and let's say two numbers are in highly floating point numbers, or let's say A1 that we have seen 1.2 into 8, 9, C to higher decimal points, or I can divide it also if I would like to. So what I will get it, the product, or I will get it the quotient, right? If I divide the two numbers. Or other way, what is the other way? That what I will do, I will transform these numbers into logarithm form, that is I will use the logarithm. So if I will use the logarithm, what I have to do, basically I have to take the log of the numbers, and once I will do the logs of the numbers, what it will be, there will be the addition of numbers, right? So here there will be the addition of numbers. So what operation will be? It will be the addition of numbers. Okay, and then what is to be done? I will do the sum of logarithms and I'll get it sum of the logarithms, but basically what I want actual product or quotient. So what I will do here, I will take it the anti-log. Okay, so that I'll get it the same answer which has been obtained from this, right? So what will happen with, what is the advantage, that your computations will become simpler here. So this way you can solve some of your issues, right? So same way, while analyzing the circuit in time domain, it may happen that you may not be easily get or extract the information from it, or it may happen that because if you will have, let's say, 4 or 5 energy storage elements, or if I have 4 or 5 independent initial conditions that I can set in the circuit, so what will happen, your order will be high, means it will be 4th order, or let's say 3rd order or 5th order. If so, what it will be, if the order is high, if I will again solve it in time domain approach, again it will be somewhat complicated for me, right? So what I will do, I will again I am observing that if there is a integration, again I have to differentiate it. So I don't want to again differentiate and do the differential, find out the complementary solution, particular solution and all that. You can do it, but again I have to search, is there any method available, so that it will be converted into algebraic manipulation, and I'll do the algebraic form, so that again I will be able to get it the same information which I have been obtained using the differential approach, right? So the circuit which we have seen, that is dynamic circuits, it consists of the integral and the differential equations. So we know that integral differential equations, this term, right? And again it is very difficult to solve, it is somewhat complicated to solve in using the classical approach for higher orders, or if there will be integral terms. So what I'll do, I'll use the Laplace transform, so that what will happen, all this will be converted into simple algebraic manipulation. I will use the standard log Laplace transform pair, and I can find out the inverse of it, so that the same information I'll get it from the time domain which I got it. Okay, so what will basically happen, or what is the case till now, whatever we have seen, I have a circuit, right? And to this circuit I have represented, or I have represented here the circuit using integral differential approach. Okay, then I have to solve it, so I can use the classical approach. Okay, that is, we know it is the complementary solution and particular solution. So that is, I will use the classical approach, and with this I'll get it some solution for some voltage, or let's say some particular current. Right, now I have to search other way, that is, we have already declared, that is the Laplace transform. So if I'll take the Laplace transform, what will happen, the same time domain representation has been converted into transform domain, or it has been projected into the Laplace transform domain, where again I will take it, I will consider all the initial conditions also. Okay, and then I'll do some algebraic manipulation here. Okay, I'll do some algebraic manipulation. So I will do, because after taking the Laplace transform you can do it, it will be converted into algebraic form. I will do some algebraic and manipulation, so that this transform I will revise it. Okay, and once I have revised it, what I will do, in order to get it the same solution in time domain, because this is in Laplace domain, right? So I have to get it in time domain. So in order to get it, what I will do, I will use the inverse Laplace transform, so that I'll get it the same solution which I have been obtained from the classical approach. So basically what is the case, this thing, this part, left part, is called as your time domain approach, and this part is called as your frequency domain approach, right? So we can analyze this circuit using two ways, that is time domain or frequency domain. So in time domain it may happen that some of the information may not reveal, so that information I can reveal by the use of frequency domain approach. That we will see, and this is your choice now by which way you want to solve it. Okay, Fine. So what is Laplace transform? Let us see now. So Laplace transform basically, in order to use, we are using the variable s, which is the complex frequency. Okay, and this will be sigma plus j omega. So let me draw the s plane. So this is my s plane. This will be your real axis and this will be your j omega axis. Okay, so s plane, s is a complex variable or complex frequency which consists of two part, real part and j omega part, and if I draw the s plane, it looks like it. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are converting t domain into s domain. T is your time domain, s is your complex frequency domain. Okay, so now let us write the Laplace transform. So the Laplace transform of x of t, that is represented with capital letter with x of s, right, where s is the sigma plus j omega, and that I can draw this way, and this will be nothing but the inner product of, or I am projecting my signal, which is time domain signal, onto the basis function e raised to st, and that can be written as minus infinity to plus infinity, as we know, x of t into e raised to minus st complex conjugate of it, and with dt. Okay, so what is the Laplace transform? Laplace transform will be, now this is basically the definition, minus infinity to plus infinity x of t e raised to minus st dt. This is the general definition of the Laplace transform, and in our application, that is for circuit application, from where we are going from 0 negative to infinity, with the assumption that the law of continuity will satisfy. Okay, so let us take couple of examples to solve using the Laplace transform, and we'll try to form the standard pair so that I'll be able to find out quickly the inverse Laplace transform. Okay, so suppose my x of t, my signal is unit step signal u of t, which is, let's say, 1, will be from t is greater than 0, and it is 0 for t less than 0. This is one of the signal. So how it looks like? It looks like this way. So this is 1, say, and what is the name? Suppose u of t. So I would like to find out the Laplace of it. So Laplace of it will be u of s, or Laplace transform of u of t. Okay, or I can write x of t also. Fine, x of s, which will be from where to where it exists, 0 to infinity. So I'll use 0 negative to infinity. X of t, what is x of t? Okay, let me change this variable. We can define later on also u of t. So this is x of t into e raised to minus st dt, and if I solve, it will be 0 to infinity e raised to, remember I may use 0 negative or 0 according to my thing. So integration will be e raised to minus st upon s will be 0 negative to infinity, let's say. So it will be e raised to minus s into infinity minus e raised to minus s into 0, it is 0, divided by minus 1 upon s. Now here, why I have written minus s into infinity? Because in order to exist the Laplace transform, because s is a complex variable, right, which is sigma plus j omega. Okay, so when s will be, or the real part of s will be less than 0, what will happen? The Laplace transform may not exist, right? So in order to exist the Laplace transform, what should be this s? Your real part of s, that is this sigma, real part of s has to be greater than 0, then only the Laplace transform of this will exist. Okay, so your x of s will exist only when the real part of s is greater than 0, means sigma is greater than 0. Okay, so now it will be 1 over s. Okay, and what is the condition? That this is the condition, and this condition is called as ROC, region of convergence. And how can we draw that region of convergence? This is my s domain, which will be this sigma j omega, and all real part j omega, and all real part will be this greater than 0. Okay, so this is my region of convergence for the signal, for the Laplace to exist for this particular signal. Okay, this first example. Second example, suppose if x of t, now I would like to tell you one more thing from this. If now, okay, now what we said, Laplace transform of any constant, let's say I have x of t is equal to 4 into u of t. Okay, so what I'll say, the Laplace transform of x of s will be 4 upon s. Okay, now if I would like to find out what is the Laplace inverse of let's say I would like to find out the Laplace inverse of what number, say s. So what is the Laplace inverse? It will be, sorry, not s, 1 over s. So what is it? It will be u of t. Okay, so you can find out if there is any x of s given, say 5 upon s. So what is its inverse? Inverse will be 5 into u of t, and u of t is 1 for t is greater than or equal to 0 to onwards. Okay, next example we'll see what if it is x of t is e raised to minus at into u of t. So in this case, what is the Laplace? Let me directly write now, because u of t, what it will be, it will go from 0 negative to infinity, e raised to minus at, e raised to minus st dt, and that we can solve it, e raised to minus s plus a into t dt. So I'll find out the integration, s plus a t divided by minus s plus a, which will be from 0 negative to t. I'll put it the higher limit, lower limit, so it will be e raised to minus s plus a infinity minus e raised to 0 over minus s plus a, and this will exist when your real part of s is or when not real part only, when real whole, that is real part of s plus a is greater than 0. It means your real part of s has to be greater than minus, so then only your Laplace transform will exist, and it will be 1 over s plus a. Okay, and what is the arrow C? If I will draw on the s plane, suppose minus a means suppose this is minus a, so the ROC will be this part. Okay, this is my ROC. Now in the same way, if I would like to find out what is the Laplace inverse of s plus 8, so what you can quickly write, it will be e raised to minus 80 into u of t. Remember, u of t always has to be, because it will start from 0 negative to infinity. Okay, now the same note, if I would like to find out what is the Laplace transform of e raised to at u of t, so again you can put it this way, and you will get it 1 over s minus a, and Laplace inverse of s minus a will be e raised to at u of t. Okay, again if I would like to find out what is the Laplace inverse of t into u of t, which is your ramp signal, so we can go with the same approach, that is 0 negative to infinity t into u, because u of t will happen that 0 negative to t e raised to minus st dt. Will use it integral by part, first function into integral of second, which will be 0 negative to t minus integration of first function integral minus integral of derivative of first into integration of second. Okay, so here it will be minus s dt, and this will be, if you put it lower limit, higher limit with proper value of real part of s, then this will vanish. Okay, this will vanish, and this is again 1 over s, and 0 negative to infinity e raised to minus st dt, and this integration I have to solve it, so it will be e raised to minus st minus s over 0 negative to infinity, and which comes out to be 1 over s square. Okay, similarly you can find out for t square also, iteratively you can do that. Okay, so this is one thing. Also what is the Laplace of delta? So delta is your impulse function, where it exists, it is very funny function which exists at t is equal to 0, right? So what it will be, 0 negative to infinity or minus infinity to plus infinity, delta t raised to minus st dt, but this exists at t is equal to 0, so all is 1. Right. So Laplace transform of delta function is 1, and Laplace inverse of 1 is delta. Okay, now with this we'll see some of the properties of Laplace transform. So first property will have the linearity property, which is superposition. So if I have, let's say, more than one excitations, how can we solve it using the Laplace transform? So suppose I'll consider I will have one signal x1 of t, or excitation, its Laplace transform will be say x1 of s, and I have second x2 of s, its Laplace is suppose x2 of s. Now if I write the linearity property, that is a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. So I would like to find out what is the Laplace of it. So what is the Laplace? You can go with the same as 0 negative to t, always between u of t or minus infinity, because you can take it. Okay. So if I would like to prove it, let me take it the one-sided signal only now onwards. So a1 x1 of t, as it is a linear, so you can write like this: 0 negative to infinity a1 a2 x2 of t e raised to minus st into dt. Okay, and what is this? This is your a1 into integral 0 to negative x1 of t e raised to minus st, which is x1 of s plus a2 x2 of s. Okay, so this satisfies the linearity property. This way you can calculate. So based on it, take example is, suppose my x of t is cos omega t into u of t. Okay, so now I would like to find out what is the Laplace of it. So cos omega t into u of t, that I can write using the Euler's identity, that e raised to j omega t plus e raised to minus j omega t upon 2 into u of t, and this I'll use the definition, that is 0 negative to t 1 over, I'll take it outside, e raised to j omega t 0 negative to infinity because of u of t, e raised to minus st dt plus 0 negative to infinity e raised to minus j omega t into e raised to minus st dt. Okay, and then I'll resubstitute, or some substitution I will do. So it will be e raised to minus s minus j omega t, am I right? Yeah. Upon minus s minus j omega, which will be 0 negative to infinity. Okay, similarly here it will be e raised to minus s plus j omega t upon minus s plus j omega, and it will be again 0 negative to infinity. You can combine this and you can find out the integration. Right. So here it will be 1 over 2, and if you substitute and take proper value of real part of s, it transform will exist. So it will be 1 over s minus j omega, and this will be again plus 1 over s plus j omega, and this if you solve, it will be, take it the LCM, so it is a minus bs plus, so it will be s square plus omega square, s plus j omega plus s minus j omega. So this will vanish, s has become 2s, so it will be simply s upon s square plus omega square. So this is the linearity you can use. So again, one standard pair we can define. So your Laplace transform of cos of omega t into u of t will be s over s square plus omega square. And if I would like to find out what is the Laplace inverse of, let's say, s upon s square plus 9. So what is the Laplace inverse? It will be cos 3t into obviously u of t. Okay. So similarly, based on it, if I would like to find out what is the Laplace transform of sine omega t into u of t, so you can use the same approach, that is 0 negative to t e raised to j, the Euler's identity, e raised to minus st into dt minus 0 negative to infinity e raised to minus j omega t e raised to minus st dt, and over 1 over 2j. And again, if you find out the 1 over 2j, its integral, so it will be e raised to minus s minus j omega t over minus s minus j omega, this will be 0 negative to t minus, again what is the integration of it, e raised to minus s plus j omega t over minus s plus j omega, it will be 0 negative to infinity. If you substitute higher limit and lower limit all this, you will get 1 over s minus j omega, and here minus 1 over s plus j omega. It is same, that is s square plus omega square. Here it will be s plus j omega, here it is minus s plus j omega, and the multiplier factor is 1 upon 2j. S will cancel, 2j will cancel, so it will be omega upon s square plus omega square, right? So again this is one of the standard pair. So Laplace transform of sine at into u of t. So what it will be? It will be a upon s square plus a square. And similarly, if I would like to find out what is the Laplace inverse of this, so it will be sine at u of t. Okay. So by the use of the linearity approach, you can find it out that. Okay. Then one more, say again, I'll take it one more example. Suppose e raised to minus at, I'll multiply with cos omega t, and I would like to find out what is the Laplace transform. Obviously multiply with e of t. So if you would like to find out any Laplace transform any signal, try to express it into exponential form. So it will be easy for me to integrate it, right? So let us use same up to 0 negative to infinity e raised to minus at into cos omega e raised to j omega t plus minus e raised to j omega t into e raised to minus st dt, and factor is 1 over 2 plus 0 negative to infinity e raised to minus at is there into e raised to minus j omega t into e raised to minus st dt. So this will be what it will be, e raised to minus s plus a minus j omega t over minus s plus a minus j omega, and it will be 0 negative to infinity. Here it is again minus s plus j omega plus a t over minus s plus j omega plus a, and it will vary from 0 negative to t, and if we'll put it lower limit higher limit, it comes out to be it will be s plus a over s plus a square plus omega square, because this s plus a square, okay, plus omega square. And how shall I solve? Let us solve quickly. So it will be 1 over 2 will be as it is. So the solve integral is 1 over s plus a minus j omega. It will be 1 over s plus a plus j omega, and this will be s plus a square and j square. So s plus a square plus omega square, s plus a plus j omega, and plus s plus a minus j omega. So this term will vanish, so it will be 2 times s plus a, 2 will get it cancelled, so that's why it will be s plus a square plus omega square. Similarly, if I would like to write what is the Laplace transform of sine omega t, yeah, that already done. I would like to find what is the Laplace transform of e raised to minus at sine omega t into u of t. So you can simply write omega over s plus a square plus omega square. You can solve, you will get it the same. Or if I would like to find what is the Laplace transform of e raised to at cos omega t u of t, so it will be s minus a over s minus a square plus omega square. Okay, so with this again we can make one more property, that if I would like to find the Laplace transform of the multiplying factor e raised to minus at with x of t. Okay, and suppose I know what is the Laplace transform of x of t. That is Laplace transform of x of t is say x of s. Okay, why I am showing both are because x of t Laplace transform is x of s and Laplace inverse of x of s will be x of t. Okay, so if I'll take the Laplace transform, what basically will happen, whatever x of s, that s will be replaced by s plus a. That is what we have found here also. See, e raised to at cos omega t, the Laplace of cos omega t was s square plus omega square, and if I multiply e raised to minus at or plus at, if it is e raised to minus at, it will s will be replaced by s plus a square plus omega square, that way. This is again one of the property, that is multiplication factor of e raised to minus at x of t. Okay. Okay, now next this property is over. Now let us see what will be the Laplace transform of derivative. Some name, some next property. So what is the transform of what is the Laplace transform of the derivative, because this is very important for us, as we came across so many times while we were solving the dynamic circuit. Okay, so derivative is, suppose Laplace transform of dt of x of t. What is it? So we'll go with the definition. X of s will be 0 negative to infinity. Okay, I'll evaluate from 0 negative to infinity onward, because this is one sided signal we are considering after switching. So this is x of t is my d dt x of t into e raised to minus st dt. So now here what I will do, I'll use the integration by parts. Okay, so what is that? Integral a b u into dv, that we can solve as u into v from a to b minus integral a to b into du. Okay, so first function into integral of second minus integral of derivative of first into integral of second, that is, we know that. So what I have to find it out, u and dv. So let me consider, let us assume that u is here e raised to minus st, and let me assume dv is equal to dxt. Okay, and what I need the derivative of it also, so it will be minus s e raised to minus st, and here I need v, so I will take it the integral, so it will be x of t. So I will substitute all this in this integral by part formula. So it is u into dv is u into v. So what is u? E raised to minus st into x of t, and which will be 0 negative to infinity minus integral 0 negative to t. V is x of t into du. Du is minus s, means it will be plus s e raised to minus st dt. Okay, so now I will solve. I will put it higher limit, lower limit. So it is e raised to minus s into infinity x of infinity minus e raised to minus 0 into x of 0 negative plus, now s is there, integral 0 negative to infinity x of t e raised to minus st dt. So what I am observing, e raised to minus s, where this part will be 0. Okay, for proper value of s, that real part of s is greater than 0, and what remains, e raised to minus s 0, that is 1. So it will be s integral 0 negative to infinity x of t e raised to minus st dt minus x of 0 negative. Okay, So this is again what? This is my standard Laplace transform pair. So I can write s into x of s minus x of 0 negative. So the Laplace transform of d dt of x of t will be s into x of s minus x of 0 negative. Okay. So what is the meaning of it? That okay. Now with this again I would like to take what is the Laplace transform of second order differential equation. So for that let us use this result. So what is the Laplace transform of first order derivative? It was s into Laplace transform of x of t minus your initial condition which was x of 0, and it was s x of s minus x of 0 negative. So same way I will use for the second order derivative, that is d2x upon dt square. So it will be s into Laplace transform of dx by dt minus initial condition, that is dx 0 negative by dt. Okay, and again I will separate this. So it will be s into again s Laplace transform of x of t minus x of 0 negative minus x prime of 0 negative. Okay, so if I'll combine everything, it will be s square x of s minus s x of 0 negative minus x dash of 0 negative. Same way if I would like to write for third order differential equation d cube upon dt cube, so it will be s cube x of s minus s square x of 0 negative minus s x prime of 0 negative minus x raised to s raised to 0 x double prime of 0. So what is happening? Your power of s is decreasing with the prime, that is x of 0 then prime then second prime, like this. So I can write the generalized form for nth order differentiation dn of dt raised to n. It will be s raised to n x of n minus s raised to n minus 1 x of 0 negative minus s raised to n minus 2. It will be first prime of 0 negative s raised to minus n by 3 second prime of 0 negative, like this, up to x raised to nth prime, sorry, n minus 1 prime of 0 negative. Okay, so this way you can form for the derivative. Similarly for the integral, transform of integral. So what is the Laplace transform of integral? Because this also we are using for so many times. So if I would like to find out what is the Laplace transform of integral, so 0 negative to t x of t dt is what? Okay, so to do, use the same approach. So x of s will be equal to 0 negative to infinity. What is x of t is given? 0 negative to t x of t dt into the basis function e raised to minus st dt, where you consider integral by part. So u is 0 negative to t x of t dt, and du will be now x of t dt. What is dv? dv will be e raised to minus st into dt, and what is v? Minus 1 over s e raised to minus st. So if you will substitute in my equation, this equation, so what I'll write I'll omit 2-3 steps, so I can write by taking directly integral minus st over s integral 0 negative to t x of t dt, this is 0 negative to infinity, plus 1 over s 0 negative to infinity x of t into e raised to minus st dt. That is the same law, uv a to b minus integral v into d. v into du. Okay, and that is integral by part. So this term will vanish. So what will be your x of s, and this is my x of s. Okay, so your resultant Laplace transform of this will be 1 over s into x of s. Okay. Now it is to be noted that in general electrical circuits, what is happening, your integral is going from minus infinity to t. For example, if I would like to write the voltage across capacitor, it will be 1 over c integral 0 negate in minus infinity to t I of tau d tau. So that I have to expand like this, minus infinity to 0 minus I of tau d tau plus 1 over c 0 minus to infinity I of tau d tau. For this I know the Laplace, right? And what will be, this will be my constant term 1 over c. This will be initial charges stored in it before switching, and this will be after switching. So what is the Laplace of, okay, I'll write it like this, 0 negative to t I of tau d tau, and if I'll take it the Laplace, this is my constant, right? So what is the Laplace of it? Q of 0 negative over s plus what is the Laplace, 1 over c 1 over s into I of s. That way you can find it out in electrical engineering applications. Okay. Okay. Now here we'll stop here. In the next class we will see some of the remaining properties, and then we'll take the inverse Laplace transform, and we'll try to solve one, or we will try couple of examples on it. Thank you.